So, I, unfortunately, watched The Force Awakens, the seventh episode of the Skywalker's trilogies. And can I just say, it is just far worse than I could have ever imagined. Now, before going into it, I knew it was going to be not that great, right? Because, I've heard the reviews, I've heard Star Wars went downhill ever since Force Awakens. But I've never fully watched the film 100% my attention looking at it. And, I wish I hadn't, to be honest with you. My original plan was that I was going to watch the 3 Rey Skywalker films, because I wanted to get an idea of the Rey Skywalker trilogy, and then talk about them. But I think this movie was so bad, that I'm just going to talk about each movie individually. Because now I have to watch the other 2 train wrecks. Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker or something? I don't even care what their names are. I just want to forget about them. I haven't even watched them yet. Anyways, I understand that there are some people that may enjoy The Force Awakens or say that the movie's not so bad. I even have a close friend of mine who I recently reconnected with, and he enjoys The Last Jedi, or The Force Awakens, sorry. And he even defends the villain like Kylo Ren. You know, he likes the villain Kylo Ren. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I think the whole film is dog shit. I think if it didn't look good, and what I mean is had great visual effects, great battle scenes, aside from a few of them that are goofy, but they look like, the costumes look nice, the blasters look nice, props, like, everything looks nice, alright? But just the writing and the characters in it are just fucking terrible. I'd even argue, ooh, this might be taking it maybe just a little too far, I'd even argue that it's almost Borderlands level. Like, if Borderlands is a 1 out of 10, I'd argue the characters, now not like not the Death Star planet, not the, Millennium Falcon, not stuff like that, but the characters are pretty much Borderlands level, maybe slightly better, alright? And now, I was going into with an open mind. So for the first, 20 minutes, or maybe it was 15, before they touched the Millennium Falcon, I was pretty happy with. I was like, okay, so far I'm looking at a 7 out of 10. Not too bad. Characters are doing things a little silly and not really making sense. But other than that, not terrible. Alright. Just to start with, I'm going to kind of go through a breakdown of the movie. So strap in. This might be a long one. Just to start with, at the very beginning, it basically starts with the First Order landing on a planet. And the planet has some resistance fighters. There's an old man and Poe, a rebel pilot who has a BB-8 droid, which BB-8 is that little orange ball, or orange and white ball, rolls around. Okay, fair enough. Not too bad of a concept. First Order shows up, and they're trying to, eradicate a rebel camp. Makes sense. No problems, alright? Now, the First Order land, there's a battle going on, because the rebels are fighting back. The rebels are pretty much losing, and the old man starts walking up, to, I guess, where the lead ship landed, and Kylo Ren comes off the ship. While the battle's taking place, there's a stormtrooper who's, running around and panicking, because he's not, I guess he just doesn't want to kill people. And he's just, running around panicking, and it's looking like he's having, a breakdown. Okay, fine concept, Stormtrooper might be questioning, if what they're really doing is right, Fine concept. Don't mind it, alright? Poe notices that the First Order are here and they're winning, so he gives BB-8, the key fragment to the map to find Skywalker, because that's what the First Order there for. Okay, fine, fair enough. And Skywalker has apparently been missing for years, and he's, you know, exiled himself or whatever, and he's just missing. And the whole plot of the movie is First Order needs to find Skywalker before the Resistance does, so they can kill Skywalker, so that all the Jedi are permanently gone forever. Fine concept, alright? Not the greatest idea, because it's a little confusing when the Republic destroyed the second Death Star, and kill Emperor Palpatine, so no one's leading, the Empire. And Darth Vader's gone, so there's no imposing power, that's above them all, I guess. But, I guess the First Order just show up out of nowhere. To my understanding, I think they're remnants of the Empire, but I could be wrong with that. So I'm just gonna, let's just assume these stormtroopers are, you know, elite level, whatever, right? So one of them's questioning morality. Kylo Ren leaves the ship. He kills the old man with a reveal of his lightsaber. Kylo Ren at this point actually looks pretty cool. Cool voice, very intimidating. And as he kills the old dude, Poe tries to snipe him from a decent distance away. Okay, fair enough. And then out of nowhere, Kylo Ren can just use Force Time Stop, and it stops the blaster mid-shot, and instead of holding up someone, like most people do with the Force, either by Force Choke or, like, using the Force on them, he just freezes, alright? Okay, fair enough. Not a terrible idea, because I am aware that, I believe it is in Star Wars lore that every Jedi or, like, Sith person, any Force user, essentially has their own Force ability. I don't remember all of them. I think Anakin's was like Force Shout or something. I can't remember. But it's been a long time since I've seen a lot of Star Wars media, but that's what I remember. So if Force Time Stop is just Kylo Ren's thing, okay, cool, badass, right? Considering the movie kind of panders towards a casual audience, I think most casuals would be confused at that, because it's like, this guy's already doing shit Darth Vader couldn't do. You know, a little weird, but okay, fine, fair enough. At this point, we're at like a 7 out of 10. Concepts are okay, could be better, but everything's working just fine. The BB-8 droid runs away, skedaddles, to get away from the First Order after receiving the key fragment from Poe. Poe gets captured. Kylo Ren takes Poe and brings him onto the ship, where Poe gets tortured after they leave the planet, and Kylo Ren is, you know, Force mind reading very aggressively, and Poe's being tortured via like a torture droid. Completely fine things so far. Poe eventually says that the key is on a BB-8 droid, or at least it's implied that he said that, because Kylo Ren leaves, and you know what I mean. So Kylo Ren leaves, and Finn, or sorry, before we know he's Finn, the stormtrooper, the rogue stormtrooper, is questioning morality, freaking out, and then, you know, he's on the Imperial area, and he decides to run into a random ship, and he takes off his helmet, I guess because he was getting claustrophobic or having a panic attack. Fine idea. Captain Phasma, obviously the black woman in the chrome armor, we all know this, like, come on. Obviously it's the diverse clone stormtrooper lady. So she shows up, and she just decides to, you know, question him, report your blaster for inspection, I think alluding to the fact that they didn't see him shoot. Fine, they might think he's going rogue. Fine concept. Actually, like, that's one of the better dialogues in the whole movie, questioning his blaster. Great idea. And then she asks, who gave you permission to take off your helmet? I think that would have been you, Captain Phasma, so I think you know the question to that, considering you're the captain over him. But okay, sure. Weird question. And then he apologizes to the captain, and then he puts his helmet back on, and then he starts his little rebel escape, I guess we could call it. Now, that's fine and dandy. Putting a pause in that, putting a little pin in that. Actually, I guess I'll finish it. I'll finish it, and then we'll move on to the Rey situation. So, the stormtrooper decides to break out the rebel fighter, the Poe, and he breaks him out with, I guess, whatever security clearance every stormtrooper has. Can walk by security, no problem. Okay, sure, fair enough. Breaks him out of his cuffs, and while he's faking that he's a prisoner, similar to how Chewbacca was being faked as a prisoner on the Imperial shuttle back in episode 1? Yeah, I think episode 1, right? Yeah, I think episode 1. Or I guess it'd be episode 4, my bad. Episode 4. So, they're using Poe. So, Finn, the stormtrooper, is using Poe as like a prisoner, and he's running to a shuttle. In the hallway, he pushes Poe into like a cubby, and he starts saying, I'm gonna break you out of here, blah blah blah. Poe's like, why are you doing this? Why is a stormtrooper defecting? You know? And this is where I take my first, like, you go from a 7, and now you're losing points to a 6 out of 10. Alright? And this line pissed me off so much, because I think it's the easiest layup. So naturally, Stormtrooper about to defect from the First Order, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's going to want to join the Resistance, because he knows the First Order is bad, and he knows that he's going to, you know, try to fight against the people who, at some point in this movie, he explains enslaved him, pretty much. Okay. Fair enough. What ends up happening is Finn, or the Stormtrooper, says, I'm breaking you out because it's the right thing to do. Okay. I don't know why that got through to the final script. That seems like something you would write down as a temporary, okay, what are we gonna have the Stormtrooper say as he's defecting? Oh, something aligned with it's the right thing to do, but we'll change that later to, like, I want to join the Resistance. I want to help the Resistance. You know, I want you to secure a spot in the Resistance for me. I want to fight against the First Order. I realize the First Order are doing terrible things. Something like that. But no, he says it's the right thing to do. A little cringe, but okay. A little bit of an irked line. And then they decide he's faking that he's a prisoner. They get to a TIE fighter. They try to fly the TIE fighter. Finn, or the Stormtrooper at the time, has no idea how the TIE fighter works. He's never flown one. He's never shot one, apparently. They start flying. They get caught. A little bit of a goofy moment. All the Stormtroopers there are, like, starting to get their guns ready and strong weapons ready to take down the TIE fighter. And the TIE fighter launches off into space after Finn, the Stormtrooper, decides to just fucking unload shots into his fellow allies and the admirals that are sitting in the, like, I don't know what you would call it, I guess, like, control room, you know? And Finn's just fucking unloading on these guys. The Stormtrooper, the defecting Stormtrooper wants to do the right thing, is just slaughtering his own brothers by fucking blowing up everything in there. Okay. You know, I guess he has a problem killing rebel people fighting against him, but he has no problem killing his brothers in arms that, you know, that he explains later in the film, that they were all taken from their families. Okay, fair enough. So, Finn and Poe escape via the TIE fighter after getting the lock shot. And, you know, they escape to space. They start doing a cool sequence. This is where it's like, okay, you're at least better than the Borderlands film. They do a cool sequence where they're really close to the fighter and they're blowing up turrets and they're trying to escape. I don't know why no fighters are after them, but okay, fair enough. Maybe they're the TIE fighters inside are just slow. Fair enough. And they're able to escape the Star Destroyer, or whatever it would be called. I'm just gonna call it a Star Destroyer. No, I'll call it a Star Cruiser. Is that what it's called? I don't fucking know. Whatever it's called, the big ship that looks like a triangle. Big ass Dorito ship. They escape the ship. They're flying down to Dagobah, which I think is the desert planet. I believe it's called Dagobah. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was. And the TIE fighter gets shot, and they start crash landing. Finn gets ejected. This is where Finn basically says, oh, my number is FN whatever. And Poe says, oh, okay, I'm just going to call you Finn because it's a long name. And they have, like, a goofy sequence, decent comedy, not, like, a terrible, like, dog shit fucking scene. It's an okay, passable scene. Alright? They crash land. Poe was in the, or sorry, Finn was in an ejector seat. Finn gets out of the ejector seat, and he decides to run over to the crashed TIE fighter, where the smoke is coming from. And Finn makes it to the ship. He doesn't find Poe there, and he only sees the jacket. And he assumes that Poe is dead. So he takes the jacket and he starts moving on. And as he's walking on the desert planet, he's dropping pieces of his armor. Little weird. The best way I would describe the show up until this point is just inconsistent. There's just a lot of like weird things about the show that just don't make much sense. Like, if I was a rebel stormtrooper, I just crash landed. I'm not slowly taking off one piece by one piece, leaving a trail behind me in the direction I'm walking. You know what I mean? To put on a rebel jacket. I would just drop my armor, put on the rebel jacket, and then start walking. Or, like, I would put the armor in a way that it looks like I fucking disintegrated or something. Like, little weird, but okay. I guess it works. So, Finn's walking into the sand, and then we cut to Rey. And Rey is living on this planet. It's clear that she's been here for a long-ass time. She's scavenging some ship parts from, like, broken-down Star Cruisers. She's living in an AT-AT walker. Cool idea. You can tell she's been there for a while because she's marking down shit on the wall. And the wall has a lot of tick marks. So she's quite clearly implied that she's been there for a long-ass time. She starts talking about how she's looking for her family. Stuff like that. We're getting some character development, not a crazy amount. Overall, the whole time, she looks very, I don't even know. She looks very, I guess, lost and calm, is how I would say. She doesn't look, like, distressed. She doesn't look pissed off very much. But she picks up some scrap parts, and she goes to whoever the local dealer is, sells the scrap parts for a shitty portion of, food, and then she goes back to her little hut area in the AT-AT walker that was destroyed. I'm completely fine with this concept so far. You have a scavenger who's living off taking parts from Imperial shuttles that are now all destroyed and shit from the time the Empire was around, or even maybe the Republic was around, with Star Cruisers and stuff like that. Fine concept, fine idea. She's living off scrapping parts, so she's a scrapper. You know, completely fine so far, alright? And then one day where she's just chilling outside of her little hut, she sees a random dude trying to capture the BB-8 droid, and I guess because she's attached to the droid for whatever reason, maybe she just doesn't like people being discriminated, alright? Or I guess droids being discriminated, okay, fair enough. And she tells the person who's got the droid captured to basically fuck off, and she takes the BB-8 droid, and she's like, oh yeah, that person's, you know, just a bad person, or whatever, right? Or he's just cranky, he's a big meanie pants. Takes the BB-8 droid, and they just start conversing a little bit. Rey is like, oh, over there is where that thing is, over there is where that thing is, basically implying that she's knowledgeable because she's been around for so long. Completely fine idea. And then after that, BB-8 is like following her, and she's like, okay, I'll keep you for the night or whatever. And then it cuts to the next morning, and, you know, Finn arrives at a small village area where he's looking for water. And I think at the meantime, what was going on is that Rey was selling more parts to the person from before, but she was getting a shit sort of ratio. And then instead of getting like a half portion of food, Rey gets questioned, and the owner, I can't remember his name, decides to offer 60 portions for the droid. And she thinks about it, and she's like, she grabs all the portions, and then she thinks about it and looks at the droid and is like, that droid's waiting for someone, you know, so, you know, I know what it's like waiting for someone because I'm waiting for my parents. Like, that's the implication. So she stops with the portions, and she's like, no, droid's not for sale. Walks away with her portion, and then the guy orders some dudes to go take the droid from her. So Finn, looking for water, He drinks water from a fucking feeding trough for one of the animals. Okay, hee goofy scene. Sure, fine. And Rey gets attacked by 2 aliens, and because she's a strong, independent white woman with a stick, she beats the shit out of the people ordered and paid to go grab the droid. Okay, she's just able to beat the shit out of them, no problem. Finn sees it, and he tries to be the little simp boy that he is, and he tries to run his ass over to Rey. And just before he gets there, he notices, oh, well, Rey's a strong, independent white woman that don't need no man. I don't need to be there. And then Rey looks at Finn after beating the shit out of those 2 smugglers, I guess we'll call them, or 2 whatever the fuck bounty hunters. I don't care. And BB-8 says something, and then she gets this really angry, fucking furious face, and just starts chasing Finn, you know? A little bit of a police brutality situation about to go on here, you know? To see the one black guy in the whole area, and it's just, you know, she's gotta fucking run after him. But alright. So, Finn starts running, Rey's chasing him, they get into a little bit of a scuffle inside of a place, and she's like, that droid said you're wearing the owner's jacket. And he starts, like, basically capping. He's got a little bit of a Pinocchio nose going on, and he's like, well, I'm part of the Resistance, and yeah, I am part of the Resistance. And he's basically waffling that he needs that droid for whatever reason. And then TIE fighters show up, and they start just blowing up shit in the village. Okay, fine. Finn decides to be the little simp boy he is, grab Rey's hand, and bring her into a hut for safety. They discuss some things, basically, I need to get that droid somewhere, and you need to help me or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, I guess we're just gonna work with this. And they start running, while Finn tries to simpishly grab Rey's hand for another weird, awkward reason, because it's clear that Finn knows that he gets his ass kicked by her, but okay. So they start running, and they start running towards a good-looking ship in the distance, and they're talking about it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what about that ship? Nah, that ship's junk. We don't need that ship. We need the good ship. And then the good ship gets blown up, and they're like, well, time to go get the scrapyard fucking piece of shit dog water ship. Alright? And they pan over, and it's the Millennium fucking Falcon. Now, this is where the show went from like a 6, maybe 6.5 out of 10, you know, 6.5, to a straight just like 3 out of 10, like dog shit. After the Millennium Falcon, everything else didn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Everything else is dog shit. And people who actually were good end up just looking like shit. But, oh man, it's already 23 minutes. Oh my god, that's so much garbage. But they get into the Millennium Falcon. Finn is questioning if she's a pilot. She says no. The ship hasn't left the area in years or whatever. But I guess because she's a woman, she just knows how to fly a ship. I guess that's just the thing. Finn mans the gun seat, which he could barely do in the TIE Fighter. So he's figuring out how to do it in a goofy way in the Millennium Falcon. Fine concept so far. Not terrible. But he gets into the Falcon, and Rey is just able to fly the ship as a single pilot, which, if you don't know, Millennium Falcon had Han Solo and Chewbacca flying it at once, and it almost always required 2 people. I can't remember a single scene where it didn't have 2 people fly the ship, but I guess Rey, she's not a Skywalker yet. But Rey, at this point, just knows how to fly the ship. Never touched it before, hasn't left the planet, never even fucking used a ship before, but she just knows how to fly it single-handedly. Better than anyone. She starts flying the ship, she has a little bit of issues, and she hits the ground a few times while being chased by 2 TIE fighters. Finn shoots one of the TIE fighters, then the gun on the ship gets shot, and they go through a Star Cruiser, through this narrow fucking hallway because it's Rey's idea and she just knows how to perfectly fly through a tight space. Literally, the scene was almost like identical to the one where the X-Wings are in the Death Star and they're in that little fucking tight corridor. And people are just getting absolutely obliterated because that's how that fucking works. You know, if you're in a tight space and there's a ship behind you shooting your ass, it's going to eventually land. That's just how that works. And that's why you know, you had like 3 or 4 X-Wings die before they got to the last X-Wing that blew up the Death Star. But okay, I guess Rey just knows how to do that. So Rey, she's able to fly through the Star Cruiser that's taken down completely fine on the planet. Gets out and then does a really cool drift maneuver where she stops the ship and then it turns around and just fucking obliterates the TIE fighter via Finn with the broken gun. Okay, fine. Little weird that she just knows how to master the flight of the ship. So they fly off into the sunset, into space, and they basically are talking over each other and like synchronizing their brains and having this really cute scene, I guess is the implication, where they're really bonding. And something before they're able to kiss and smooch, because they just met each other and, you know, she's able to fly in space. Before they smooch, something goes wrong with the ship, and Rey just knows exactly what it is, and she knows if it's not fixed, instantly they all die from poisonous gas. So while she's trying to find it, Finn is trying to, like, lie to her that he's part of the Resistance and everything, and the droid's questioning it. Droid's having some goofy, funny scenes, hee hee ha ha. And the droid is not telling them the location of the base until Finn somehow convinces the droid. Don't know how that happened, but okay. Finn convinces the droid that he's part of the Resistance, or at least he's trying to help the Resistance. And BB-8 gives the location, and then Rey just knows where it is, like the system, at least. So that's their next course of events, and she starts complaining that, oh, she needs to get back to her planet, or whatever. And then the ship gets boarded. Dun dun dun. By this really big, I guess it's like it looks like a garbage ship or whatever that like fucking consumes the Millennium Falcon. So it consumes the Millennium Falcon's inside the ship, and they get boarded, and it's Han Solo and Chewbacca in their old vintage forms, you know, and they're like, good to be back, Chewie, you know, and they're looking around and they hear a noise, and you know, Rey and Finn are trying to, after they fix the ship, but just before it got boarded, they're trying to re-break the ship so that the poisonous gas can kill whoever's on it. Okay then. So Han Solo finds them, has a blaster towards them, and, you know, they're trying to explain, oh, we're part of the Resistance, we're trying to get this droid to whatever, blah blah blah. You know, Han Solo's saying, oh, this is my ship, whatever, and then Rey Skywalker acts like an average Star Wars fan and is just gushing. It's like, oh, you're Han Solo, you're the guy who did it in like you did that run in 14 parsecs. It was 12 parsecs. Fucking 12 parsecs. So basically the implication is that Han Solo used to be a badass and is well known throughout the galaxy. All right, fair enough, right? Probably accurate to what would have happened after the events of the 6th episode. But basically it's just a bunch of like nonsense dialogue that doesn't really matter. And then it's like them trying to convince each other to work with each other, and then somebody else boards the ship, and it's like, oh no, who boarded the ship after I boarded the ship situation? And it was some fucking pirate, don't remember his name, but basically shows up after Rey and Finn start hiding with the droid. Or no, they don't hide with the droid, sorry. The droid's there. Finn and Rey just hide. And the smugglers are basically like, Han Solo, you owe me money, because, you know, we gave you money for those Rathtars, and you haven't, you know, gave us the money back yet, or you haven't cashed it out, or whatever. Han Solo having some, like, oh, well, it's a lot harder to do than you think there, you young whippersnapper. And the pirates are just like, oh, there's no one left for you to swindle anymore, or whatever. And then another set of pirates show up, and those other pirates are mad at Han Solo for the same thing, because Han Solo just owes everybody money. And the pirates are like, there's no one left in the galaxy for you to swindle, Han. So I guess the implication here is that Han Solo is just a dumb, old, bumbling idiot who just gets into debt with everyone. Was he a smuggler in the past? Yes. Did he owe Jabba the Hutt money before? Yes. But considering that's the only person he owed, in the films, it's a little confusing because Jabba the Hutt's no longer around. So I guess whoever takes Jabba the Hutt's place is just fucking... He just kept tabs on Han Solo. Okay, then. And then Han Solo gets in debt with everyone, even though he became a bajillionaire after saving the galaxy. Okay, then. Just average Star Wars things. So, they basically start a fight because Rey wants to shut the doors, but instead she makes her first mistake of the entire film after knowing everything about the Millennium Falcon, how it works, more than Han Solo does. She knows literally the ins and out about a ship, how to fly it, everything. But she makes her first mistake, and she accidentally opens the doors to the Rathtars. I don't think it's on the Millennium Falcon. I think this is on the ship that has the Millennium Falcon inside. And the Rathtars are released. And the Rathtars are gobbling up everyone. But, Finn's running around, and for whatever reason, the Rathtar picks up Finn, and instead of eating it like it eats every other bounty hunter on the ship, he just starts dragging Finn. And, it was such a big mistake that Rey made that she can just obviously fix it, and she closes the doors just in time to cut off the Rathtar's fucking tentacle before it eats Finn. After the Rathtar just runs around basically doing cardio day while on the ship that holds the Millennium Falcon. So Rathtars get his tentacles cut off, and I guess it's implied that they're just cut off from any entrances. Finn gets saved. Rey shows up, and he's like, "How did that happen?" And she's like, "Oh, you just got lucky." And then they just run to Millennium Falcon with Chewbacca, Han Solo. They get on, they start flying, and they just decide to use hyperspeed, or their hyperdrive, as they're in the Millennium Falcon inside of another ship. Never been done before, but okay. I guess it's just a thing now, and it's even mentioned that Han Solo, I never question things until I do it. And so it's his first time ever flying using hyperspeed outside of the ship. So he hyperspeeds outside of the ship. It works because obviously, it's Star Wars, and anything can work as long as you believe enough. And then hyperdrive starts failing, and Rey is just magically able to make the Millennium Falcon stop error code weaseling and take out one of the computer chips, and it just randomly starts working, she just knew that she needed to remove that part in order for the ship to work. Han Solo is also like oldly, slowly pressing buttons, and then Rey is like, "Oh, you gotta press that button," and he's like, "Okay," and presses the button. Implying that basically Rey just knows everything, and Han Solo is just a dumb, bumbling idiot still. So they're flying. They land on whatever the new planet they need to get, because they need to get the droid there. Some dialogue are going here and there, but it's not really that important. They land. Rey is given a gun by Han Solo, and Rey is just like, I don't need that. I'm a strong, independent white woman with a stick. Why the fuck do I need a blaster? And Han's like, "No, I know you're gonna need it," basically. Some wise wisdom from Han Solo. And they have a little bit of dialogue. I think it's supposed to imply that, like, Rey really cares about the crew, even though they've only met for a day, pretty much. But, okay, fair enough. They go into the Resistance Temple, we'll call it, and Orange Lady's there with the glasses. Han Solo. But, yeah. Orange Lady shows up. Orange Lady then starts, talking about Han Solo, and like, "Oh, I thought I'd never see you again. Where's my boyfriend, that Wookiee? I love that Wookiee." Some okay dialogue so far. Not cringe or any. It's kind of cringe, but nothing crazy shit. But conveniently, there's just a First Order, fucking, I guess, what would you call it? A First Order spy there, and immediately starts contacting Kylo Ren. I believe before Kylo Ren gets contacted, he basically gets told by one of his admirals, they fled, the droid fled in a ship. And Kylo Ren takes his lightsaber and he starts fucking on the control terminal in front of him, and just starts baby raging for whatever reason, because he's just a man-child, I guess. And the admiral, or Kylo Ren, looks at him and he's like, "Anything else, General?" And then the admiral's like, there was a girl with them, and fucking Kylo Ren just force chokes the shit out of him, drags him to him, and then you get a cool scene. That scene right there kind of emphasizes my main problem with the whole film. You have a cool character and a decently written character, being Kylo Ren being decently written so far, and a cool character being the Admiral, alright? You know, the Admirals in most Star Wars can be perceived as pretty decent. There's not one that sticks out as being, like, really retarded. But I guess this Admiral just decides to make him baby rage, and my problem is that he baby rages by, like, cutting up a terminal. I guess it's supposed to be scary. Ooh, I'm so scared. He took his lightsaber rage out on a terminal, and then he force choked him. Now, if the scene was just Kylo Ren, oh, they escaped with the droids, sir, and he's like, and the Admiral's like, you know, please don't hurt me, and then Kylo Ren just looks at him and force chokes the shit out of him, and he's pissed off, would have been a 10 out of 10 scene. That would have been a perfect, like, he's angry as fuck, he's intimidating as shit, and people fear him there. But this was more just like, he's a baby rager, and then he just conveniently gets cool. It's like, it makes no sense, you know? It's very inconsistent. But okay. So, Kylo Ren finds out they're at a rebel planet. They're taking the fleet there, I guess, or I guess the one-star cruiser there. And basically Han Solo and Finn are talking to the resistance person, and they show the map to everyone, and then Rey hears a voice, and it's like, oh, okay, Force Ghost is about to show up or something, or, you know, this isn't, like, crazy not canon. So far, it's not too bad. She hears the voice, she goes into the basement, and the Orange Lady's basement, and the door just magically opens, sorry, and she sees the chest, and the chest is calling to her. She opens the chest. It's Luke Skywalker's, it's Luke and Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, the one from, the first two movies, I guess, after Revenge of the Sith, so Attack of the Clones and, Revenge of the Sith, yeah, what was the first one? Phantom Menace, right. So, after Phantom Menace, Anakin has a lightsaber in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and Luke Skywalker gets that in Episode 4. He eventually loses his hand, I think in Episode 4, it could be Episode 5, I can't remember. I think it's Episode 5, isn't it? Might be Episode 4. Maybe it's 5. Could be 5. I think it's 5. I think Episode 5 it happens. Yeah, Episode 5, he loses the lightsaber via losing his hand. But I guess this orange lady found it in the junkyard where the lightsaber ended up. Okay, fair enough. So Rey opens the chest, touches the lightsaber, gets a really cool, this is a cool scene, you know, if we're taking away the fact that it makes no sense. She touches the lightsaber, and she sees all these Force things happening, and, you know, Kylo Ren being evil, and, you know, I guess it's the Knights of Ren behind Kylo Ren, and all this other shit, right? And before she's able to really sink into it, the vision cuts, and the orange lady is like, oh, the lightsaber calls to you as it did, you know, Anakin and Luke, and now it calls to you. Take up the lightsaber, please. And Rey's like, oh, where did you find the lightsaber? And she's like, a story from another time. No. I would have loved an explanation. We could have cut the baby rage scene and just had, like a cutscene of just how she found it, or like a vision of how she found it. That would have been way better. Maybe Lando finds it, and Lando gives it to the orange lady for, you know, to keepsake or something, because she's well trusted and has been around for thousands of years. That could have happened, but I guess not. So Rey basically says, fuck your lightsaber. I'm going back to my planet. And she just runs off into the forest with the BB-8 droid. I don't know why the BB-8 droid follows her, but okay then. Plot, I guess. So she's running in the forest. First Order shows up. Kylo Ren lands. They start blowing up the fuck out of the temple that's there. And Orange Lady gives Finn the lightsaber, and Finn is the stormtrooper, if you forgot. Don't worry, I did too for a little bit. Finn gets the lightsaber, and Orange Lady is like, Finn's like, I need a weapon to help us. And she's like, but you have a weapon, young whippersnapper. And Finn uses the lightsaber, and he assumes the pose of Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay, then. And he just starts running down a stormtrooper. I don't remember if he kills anyone with it, and I think the stormtrooper literally is like, defector, and he whips out this shocky fucking weird staff. I don't even know what the fuck it is. It looks like something Nightwing would use from Batman, and he just starts whipping it around and revving it up, and he fucking starts wailing at Finn, and Finn loses a 1v1 against another stormtrooper with not a lightsaber. So Finn gets his ass kicked by just a random grunt member. Makes sense because he is a random grunt member. But why even bother using something as valuable as a lightsaber in that fight? Don't know. Han Solo, even though he's a bumbling old idiot, he's just got aimbot, and he's just like, boom, 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 and just shooting people without even fucking looking at them. He's just that good, that goated. I think he loses his blaster, or he runs out of ammo or something, and he picks up Chewie's weapon for the implied first time ever, and he shoots someone, and he's like, I like this. This is cool. You know, and Chewbacca is just like doing Chewbacca things. Chewbacca probably the best actor in this whole thing. So we cut to like Rey running in the forest, and all of a sudden, I guess she does a 360, and she just runs at the other end, and she sees the temple being attacked and everything. She's like, oh shit, the temple's attacked. Oh no, BB-8. What are we gonna do? Pretty much. And she just whips out her blaster, and she starts fucking aimbotting people. She kills like 3 people, and she's like, I can kill people with this? And just starts unloading on more people. She just has aimbot. Kylo Ren sees her, I think, or is told a lady and a droid were seen in the forest. Kylo Ren hunts her down. BB-8 is told to like fuck off so they don't get the map things. And Rey sees Kylo Ren as Kylo Ren menacingly walks up towards her. You know, decent scene, but like a kind of like an almost B-movie scene where Rey's just walking backwards with this weird face, like don't touch me, you know, pew pew, don't touch me, pew pew, oh, you know, walking backwards. Really goofy. I don't know. To me, it seemed odd, you know. It just seemed like a really low budget scene. I don't know. It looked like something they forgot to edit, maybe. I don't know. So Kylo Ren catches up with Rey and like puts her to sleep after checking her mind, because he can just see inside of her head. You've seen the map. Captures her, brings her aboard the shuttle. Finn sees, after Finn and Han Solo and Chewbacca all get like cornered by stormtroopers, more resistance people show up, and they just start fucking blowing up all the First Order people. And they land, and you see the fighter that got downed in the crash of the first few minutes in that TIE fighter, Poe. He's still alive somehow, and he just fucking starts obliterating TIE fighters left and right, aimbot style. Doesn't miss a shot while he's in that X-wing. And Princess Leia's ship lands, and yeah, they get cornered. They shoot all the stormtroopers, so that Han Solo and everyone's free. Finn sees that Rey is being taken upon Kylo Ren's ship. I think Han Solo notices that Kylo Ren's there, also, so he kind of like feels Kylo Ren's presence or whatever. Leia shows up, and it's like, oh, we've came to rescue you guys, you know, let's get to our home base, pretty much. And Leia and Han have this old people scene where it's like, oh, we haven't seen each other in years. Fine scene. Not a horrible scene. Need a sip of water here. If you're watching this long, by the way, remember to hydrate. Anyways. So, they have like a cutesy little scene, Han Solo and Leia. Perfectly fine, whatever. I'm not like too pissed off with it. But they seem like warm and welcome of each other. They fly off, go to their home base, and basically give some background and some context goes on where it's like Kylo Ren is the son of Leia and Han, and Leia and Han don't like each other even now for some reason. I guess it's presumed because Han's an old bumbling idiot that can't do anything right, except for apparently shoot people. So that's the implication there. Rey gets taken back to the Death Planet, the fucking planet with the beam that is used, I think, for the first time and blows up 5 rebel planets. And now it's charging up using the power of the sun. Fine idea. Doesn't make sense. A little clunky, but a fine idea. It's basically just a big Death Star. But so far, pretty decent. Actually, so far, it's not making any sense, and it's very confusing, and the plot's not making any sense, and people are doing dumb things. Rey wakes up, she's in a torture chair, and Kylo says something ominous, and then Rey's just like, show me your face, or implies that he's not human, or a human being, whatever. So he takes off his helmet, and I have no problem with the actor of Kylo Ren, alright? I'm sure he did his best. However, Kylo Ren acting in this, whether it was his fault or the director's fault, was terrible every time he took off his mask. He looked like he was shitting his pants every single time I saw a facial expression from him. Takes off his mask and he's like... he just looks like he's about to shit himself. So Kylo Ren takes off his helmet and he starts trying to use the Force. He has like a few dialogue things that make him seem really soy and weak, just as a human. And he uses the Force and he's like trying to force the information out of Rey's mind because she's seen the map before. And oh, gonna sneeze. Nope, false alarm. Alright, so trying to force out that map, and you get, I shit you not, like 5 minutes of Rey being like... and Kylo just being like... And, eventually, Rey starts being like a... Yeah. And she, I guess the implication is that she resists the Jedi mind trick, or the Kylo Ren mind trick, and starts just fucking reading his mind, doing an Uno reverse, I guess. So, Kylo Ren being trained by Snoke. Snoke appears, but he just basically says, yes, go get the droid. Yes. Must not let the droid do, bad things in the Resilience. We must kill them before the droid reaches there and they can find Skywalker. And that's all Snoke does the whole film. So I'm not really gonna mention him. He's here and there, telling Kylo Ren to do things. But, he trained Kylo Ren, and I guess Kylo Ren his weakness is women, and he just can't fucking mind control women or look into the minds of women. In fact, he's so weak and pathetic that Rey, for her first time, without ever seeing it, ever hearing about it, ever fucking being taught anything, she's just able to use a Jedi mind trick on him and read his mind while being imprisoned. Okay. Sure then. And Kylo Ren is like, oh, how dare you? And she just starts roasting him. Yeah, you're upset you'll never be like Darth Vader. Weak, pathetic puss boy. And Kylo Ren storms off like a fucking child. And he's like, Snoke, what must I do to stop being soy? And Snoke is like, you will face your toughest test soon, young Kylo Ren. So, okay. He's trying to redeem himself after that humiliation. Meanwhile, Finn at the Rebel base is like, we must save Rey, and Leia's agreeing with it, and we're getting some cringe lines and odd dialogue, but okay. Basically, the whole idea is send X-Wings in to blow up the giant Death Star, and Meanwhile, while we're doing that, Millennium Falcon goes in, and we find the control room, and Finn knows where everything is because he's worked there before, so we're trusting Finn that he shuts down the shields, and, you know, the X-Wings can finish everything. Han Solo lands on the planet via using hyperdrive and stopping, I guess, at the 0.0000001 second. Otherwise, they would have just plummeted straight into the ground. So they land super small, just below radar, apparently. Fly through some trees, crash land the Millennium Falcon. They get out, it's super cold planet. And before they get in, Han Solo asks Finn, so what were you doing here? And Finn says, well, sanitation. And Han Solo's just like, so how the fuck do you plan on shutting down the shields? And Finn is just like, well, we'll use the Force. Duh. And Han Solo's just like, that's not how the Force works. As pretty much every single Star Wars fan has ever probably said during that moment. That's not how the Force works, you fucking idiot. But I guess Finn just thinks that's how it works. Okay, then. They break into the area with no guards ever stopping them. Don't encounter a single, like, platoon in the base or whatever. Even though they showcase a massive fucking First Order army. Right before the death laser shot. And oh man, it's just like painful to think about, but they see Captain Phasma. They bring Captain Phasma into a room, and Finn has some cringy lines, basically shitting on Captain Phasma, and Han Solo is even saying, oh, okay, calm down there youngster, alright? Calm down there, buddy, little pal. And Captain Phasma is forced to lower the shields, and they lower the shields while the X-Wings come in, and, you know, they start blowing up some things, but they're having problems because it's too thick, so they need to destroy another layer. Han Solo and Finn throw Phasma down the garbage chute, I guess, for some reason, and I guess to be that hee ha ha funny reference to when they were in the garbage chute moment, which it was just terrible. What an awful reference, but okay then. So they're trying to find Rey, and then it cuts to, like, Rey doing her whole escape sequence. Maybe her escape sequence was a little bit before. You know, I might not be accurately portraying everything 100% in order, but pretty much what happens is Rey, not being trained by a Jedi, never seeing a Jedi, doesn't even know what a fuck a Jedi is. She thinks it's a myth, and they're not real. Is able to use read mind on Kylo Ren. Sure. But she's imprisoned, and she just randomly starts saying, you will unlock these restraints, to the stormtrooper outside of the room. And the stormtrooper is like, what did you just say? And he walks over, and she's like, you will unlock my restraints. No hand wave, no Jedi-ness at all. She's just using her mind, alright? And staring deep into his soul. And he's like, I'm gonna tighten those restraints. And third time's a charm, and because she's a woman, she just can magically open the cell. Uh-oh, I just dropped a fucking... Where did I just drop? I dropped the bobby pin. Anyways, yeah. She's just magically able to use Jedi mind tricks, even though she's never been taught them. I guess that's just how the Force works now. If Anakin Skywalker midichlorian count was 20,000, Rey Skywalker's midichlorian count is probably in the millions, if I just had to guess off this movie. You know, just an assumption. So, Rey successfully gets the Jedi mind trick to work, even though she doesn't even know how it works. So she escapes, she starts hiding, because there's only 2 people roaming around the entire ship, apparently, or the planet, I guess we could say. Alright then. And Finn and Han Solo get a little goofy back and forth, and then they notice Rey is climbing behind them, and they're like, oh, we gotta go get Rey, whatever, right? So I think the idea is that Finn's gonna go get Rey, and then Han Solo and Chewbacca, they need to blow up the thing inside of the planet so that they're able to, like, blow up the planet fully, you know? I guess they're trying to take down the other layer of shields. So Han Solo and Chewbacca go do that. Rey and Finn meet up, and I don't remember too much what happens, but essentially they just, like, oh, I came to get you and everything, you know, hugs and whatever, and we gotta split up and, you know, save the rebellion or whatever, right? So they go and do their own thing. Kylo Ren senses that Han Solo and Chewbacca, or I guess Han Solo has arrived, and before Han Solo is able to detonate everything, he splits up with Chewbacca, and he meets Kylo Ren, and they're on this like bridge sequence, and you know, they get closer and closer, and Han talks about like, I would do anything for you, my son. You know, I failed you, blah 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 blah. And Kylo Ren, you know, he's sitting there in tears. I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. And you know, he's trying to handle lightsaber. This is a fine scene in my opinion. It's just like the before sequence is dog shit, the after sequence is dog shit, but the scene itself I don't think is terrible. He's trying to give the lightsaber to be like, I'm giving away my dark side, you know, and Han Solo tries to grab it, and then Kylo Ren decides to fucking activate it and kill Han Solo, and it's this really sad moment where Rey is upset the most for some reason. Finn gets angry, Chewbacca screams and does his thing, and Chewbacca shoots Kylo Ren's shoulder, and now he's just fucking injured, I guess. But they all run away while the place is crashing down, and, you know, the planet's getting close to exploding. I think it explodes in like 10 minutes or something, or 2 minutes at this point, whatever. They're all running away. After watching after witnessing Han Solo's death, Leia on some sort of ship, it just feels the death of Han Solo. Little odd, but okay. I don't know why Leia wasn't just there in general, but okay then. Would have been a way better scene if Leia was just there. Or if, you know, maybe Luke did something. We saw like a vision of just like Luke in his cloak, you know, feel it or whatever. But okay then. So they leave the area and they're in the forest and they're running around, and Kylo Ren's just faster than them, even injured. And Finn whips out a lightsaber and starts fucking 1v1ing Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren absolutely beats the shit out of him. But like, the fact that Finn can even wield a lightsaber against Kylo Ren is just like stupid, you know what I mean? Like, this is literally like if a stormtrooper picked up a lightsaber and started swinging at Darth Vader, you know what I mean? Or even Anakin Skywalker, if a clone trooper just whipped a lightsaber at him. No, like, Anakin would clear him in seconds, you know what I mean? I think it's just fucking absurd. But okay then. I can't fucking comprehend a stormtrooper just like toe-to-toeing it. He gets knocked unconscious, I think, via a force push, and then Rey picks up the sword, and then it's like a, you know, like a fucking, or no, I think what happens is Rey gets knocked unconscious, or like gets put away or whatever, and Finn fights to save her. He gets his ass kicked, nearly dies, and then as Kylo Ren's trying to grab the lightsaber, we get the iconic scene where the lightsaber just flies right past him, and fucking Rey has the saber, and then she does the Qui-Gon stance, and then they start having a lightsaber battle. By the way, what a low quality, like, honestly, the quality of the lightsaber duel was worse than any of the films, and that's including the one made in 1977. Pretty embarrassing if you ask me, but okay. Rey is getting her ass beat because she doesn't know how to use the, well, she's contending, but she gets put towards a cliff's edge, and she has, I think it's one hand, and she's just repelling him with one hand, and he's like, where did you learn how to use the Force? And she's just like, she you know, starts breathing, and everything goes quiet, and her face just goes calm, and then she's just automatically stronger for some reason, and pushes away Kylo Ren, and then they start having a duel. Rey, first time using a lightsaber, cuts up Kylo Ren's legs, and then cuts up fucking his face, beating the shit out of Kylo Ren, even though Kylo Ren's supposed to be, you know, an imposing threat. Apparently he just can't handle women at all. Okay then, I guess it's just a canon thing. So, gets his ass beat, and then Rey gets Finn, and, you know, they leave, and Chewbacca gets on the ship and whatever, and they leave. With Finn's, like, unconscious body. Kylo Ren fails. I think he goes to Snoke or something. I can't remember. I just remember him being beaten down like a soy boy and then just fucking running off. But yeah, so they leave the planet. Planet explodes because Poe is just a legend of a pilot. They reach the rebel base again, like the main rebel base, and they talk about how they succeeded and, you know, hoorah. You know, R2D2 has been at the base the whole time and just asleep for whatever dumb fucking reason. And I guess when Han Solo dies, R2D2 decides to wake up, similar how when Lilith arrives on Pandora, Claptrap just wakes up in the Borderlands movie. One of those moments where I'm just like, this is fucking retarded. But okay, I guess I'm supposed to believe it. R2 shows the rest of the map. Everyone mourning the death and whatever. Rey and Leia, you know, start hugging and being sad over Han Solo dying for some reason. I don't even know. Like, Rey's known Han Solo for like 2 days. That was pretty much it. And Leia didn't even like Han Solo, so I don't fucking know. I don't get it. But okay then. So they have a sad scene, whatever. R2D2 wakes up, shows the map, and they find out where Luke is. So they take the Millennium Falcon, Rey, I think Finn, Chewbacca, R2, and C-3PO, I want to say. They take the shuttle, and they fly off to wherever Luke Skywalker is. They land on the planet. Rey walks up to Luke Skywalker with the lightsaber. Luke Skywalker turns around, drops his hood, and looks at her like she's a mentally disabled child that he's disappointed in. And he's just like, you know? And then it rolls credits. So that was the movie. Yeah, that was the movie. I think I lost half my brain cells through watching it. And I sincerely can't fucking comprehend why the movie was that bad. I don't get it. I can't understand it. For people who still defend The Force Awakens, I promise you it is 10 times worse than you can ever remember. Nothing makes sense in the entire film. Me personally, I think after the Millennium Falcon being shown, everything goes downhill. Han Solo seemed like a bumbling idiot. Chewbacca doesn't really do much other than have a gun that Han Solo's never used before, apparently. Rey is just perfect. My issue with Rey is that she's perfect and she has no flaws and she has no emotion in anything she does. Visually, to you guys, people watching, she might have an emotion, but for me, there's no emotion there because she's just perfect at everything. She can fly the Millennium Falcon solo. She doesn't need a pilot or a co-pilot. She just knows how to fly it. She is perfect when wielding a lightsaber, perfect when wielding a blaster, and she does nothing wrong, you know? If she had stats, all of them would be maxed out for whatever reason. She was supposed to be waiting for her parents, which is a fine concept as a scavenger, but there's so many like things that are easy layups. If Star Wars really wanted to incorporate Rey and her be perfect, they could have made her be like, okay, she's a scrapper, but, you know, let's cut some of the scenes where Kylo Ren's baby raging. Let's cut some of the scenes that are really stupid and goofy and don't make sense. And let's just have Rey having flashbacks of, like, hearing things about myths of Jedi and myths of things like that from people on the planet. That would have worked. I think that would have, like, it would have made everything work with duct tape, but it would have worked. You know what I mean? It would have fixed a lot of issues. But the fact that she just knows everything pisses me off because it's like, so no one in the film can be anywhere close to Rey in terms of skill. Rey has to be better than everyone in terms of everything. Finn, as a character, I think is one of the worst written characters I've ever seen. A defector clone, cool idea. In the film, Finn describes his people as being taken from birth, but the Admiral who was watching over Finn described all of them being programmed at birth. So I'm confused on which one's true. And if you are stolen from birth, it makes sense to be or stolen as a child from your parents, it makes sense to be a defector, you know? Cool idea. But he's always goofy, he's always silly, and he's never serious. It's like, to be honest, it's kind of like watching Kevin Hart, you know? Never a serious scene, and when it is serious, it doesn't feel serious because it's Kevin Hart. That's the same way I felt with this actor. There's not a single time where I'm like, oh, he's being serious right now. Every time it just looked like he was either being a fucking soy retard or he was just saying some cringe shit, you know? Like he's saying, like being fake resistance, fine, but every time he portrays he's part of the resistance, it's always clearly fake. Like, are we intending the audience to be 5 years old here? I just don't understand. Han Solo being treated as a bumbling idiot and then just having aimbot makes no sense. It's just inconsistent, you know? I'm fine with the Poe death and then him coming back. I think it was explained okay, being that Poe hit the injector seat and he woke up in the middle of the night or whatever. I just wish we would have seen a scene of Poe in the middle of the night who woke up or something. Just like more explanations. Leia just pretty much doing nothing other than telling other people what to do is kind of really out of character for Leia. Leia normally is the boots on the ground character, but okay, I guess Rey has to fill in that role. Oh yeah, Rey is able to, so here's the thing, she can fly the Millennium Falcon, she can use the Force without ever seeing anyone use the Force, she can resist Sith mind tricks, which in canon, you're like in every Star Wars film ever I've seen, is hard to do if you can do it. The only person, maybe Rey has some sort of biological DNA with Watto, because the only person I've seen in the films that can resist Jedi mind tricks are certain races like the Geonosians and Watto. Jedi mind tricks don't work on me, only money. You know, that classic scene. But I guess Rey can just fucking resist it for whatever reason. Alright then. And then she can just Uno reverse mind tricks and read other people's minds. And she can use the Force, like mind tricking people without ever seeing anyone do it before. But okay. Sure. Some dumb, stupid fucking reason. But, breaks out perfectly fine. No one catches her. Nothing wrong ever happens to her. And she's able to beat Kylo Ren in a 1v1. I understand Kylo Ren had an injured shoulder. But I'm just going to say this right now. Bro, I'm telling you, Darth Maul was alive during this time. Bro, if Darth Maul, my favorite Sith Lord, came back during this fucking, this event, clears everyone. Bro, Republic, no chance, alright? No chance in The Force Awakens, alright? Darth Maul shows up, dominates Rey, you know? Fucking obliterates her in milliseconds, you know what I mean? You could say the same about Sidious and Vader, but I just like Darth Maul, so I just want to flex Darth Maul, you know? Yeah, I just think, everything's shit. The villains are terrible. For people who defend Kylo Ren, I feel genuinely bad for you. Honestly, I feel bad for you. I look at you as like a victim of like trying to like something, but just knowing it's so shit that it's never gonna be good, you know? Similar to the way I see Destiny fans, I'm one of them. And Star Wars fans, it's just like, you want to like it so bad, or maybe even Star Wars Outlaws, I think it's called. You want to like it because it's part of the universe that you enjoy, but you know it's just like so shit that it's just never gonna be good, you know? Maybe Kylo Ren's cool in the comics, and I'm just speaking purely from The Force Awakens, but fuck, man. He's just such a soy boy, like, retard. And he also just looks like... He looks like shit. Like, his facial expressions are terrible. I have no problems with the actor. Big nose, fucking, you know, little, skinny, scrawny-looking guy. His costume, helmet, all look fine. But, like, my issue is that his facial expressions always make him look weak and, like, terrible. Like a... you know? He always looks like what Palpatine looks like when he's trying to portray he's losing the fight against Mace Windu. When Anakin's there. It's like, you're not supposed to look that weak and pathetic. You're supposed to look intimidating, you know? But Palpatine in that moment is trying to convey to Anakin, I'm weak, I'm old, I need you to help me, otherwise I'm gonna die. Kylo Ren is just looking weak to look weak. Like, it's just terrible. I feel bad for Luke as well. Mark Hamill, I think his name is. Bro, that guy, holy fuck. He was done such a disservice. They show up with a lightsaber and he's like disgusted at a lightsaber. Why? Like, okay, and then you leave credits there, obviously, like, come watch the next one in 3 years, you know? And I am aware of the issue with the inconsistent writing that they have in the future films. I haven't seen the future films. I'm going to watch them, unfortunately. But I do know the first one is made by X-Man. I can't remember his name. But then the second one is made by Y-Man. But while the second one was being made, the third one was being made by X-Man again. So basically, X-Man had his own idea. Y-Man had a different idea, but he only had ideas of what was going on in the film. And then X-Man, for the third film, decided to scrap everything Y-Man did. That's my understanding of it. But I think it's sad, man. I think it's really sad. We could have had such an epic film. We could have had something really, really fucking cool. And for the first, like, 15-20 minutes, I think what really went downhill with the film isn't even the fact that everything's written like shit. It's the fact that not only are characters written poorly, like, there isn't a single character in that I'm like, wow, that's a really good written character, you know? Poe, mid as fuck. Has some decent dialogue, but mid as fuck. Finn, terrible. Han Solo, excluding Han Solo, let's only look at new ones. Rey, terrible, because she's perfect. The whole point of, like, character development is someone having issues and then them solving the issues, you know? When I watch Anakin, his issue is that he always succumbs to rage a lot. Or not always, but yeah, a lot of the time he succumbs to his rage, the dark side, whatever. And you see that in the Clone Wars, where, like, Anakin is using things like Force Choke and using unauthorized intimidation methods to get things done, and using strategies that are a lot more out there, where he's, like, fucking sacrificing him and his ship to crash into another like, enemy fleet or whatever, right? Like, risky shit that he's not supposed to be doing, but that's his identity. And that's something he has to learn to stop doing all the time, because it's not the Jedi way. That's where, like, you get character development and how Obi-Wan becomes such a great leader towards Anakin. But the issue with Rey is that she has no one teaching her anything, and she just knows everything. So I guess she doesn't need a teacher, but it's like, how does she just know fucking everything? It doesn't make any sense at all. And she rejects the idea of becoming a Jedi, and then I guess she just slowly learns that it's better to be a Jedi than not, because she can do Jedi Uno reverse on Kylo Ren. It's just weird, man. It's so bad and shit. But characters like that, terrible. The Orange Lady I thought was okay. It's just weird. She feels like a decently written character, even though she's only on screen for like 5 minutes. But I think the main issue is that, like, her in the film, fine. Her outside of the film, in terms of where did she come from, where has she been, is like just a complete what the fuck, you know? BB-8 is probably the best added character. A little goofy, a little funny, and a decent droid as far as everything goes. You know, because astromechs, I don't think it's hard making a good astromech or a good protocol droid. But I think BB-8's a cool addition. I think BB-8's probably the best new character in the whole film. Chewbacca was done okay. Chewbacca just does Chewbacca things. But my main issue, outside of the new characters and, like, the terrible written plot and everything, is not only did they write everything like fucking it's being held together like Lego, where it's just fucking bending and slowly breaking, and now because there's tension on everything, everything's cracking the longer it's around. All the old characters are done such a disservice. Like, Leia does nothing other than rage at Han and then be upset that he's dead. Han Solo's presented as a bumbling idiot that owes everyone money, and I guess went rogue after becoming a hero. Okay. And then who else is in the film? Oh, and Luke is portrayed as this bumbling old idiot that hates the Jedi. Why? Like, all these characters are written like shit. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And that's at the end of the day what my main problem is. Nothing makes any fucking sense. You know? And if you take away everything from the film itself, how are the First Order just stronger than the Republic? How come the Republic aren't doing shit? How is Kylo Ren even able to train if the Republic are still around? You know? The 5 planets that blow up, how important were they in the Republic? Do the Republic just have 20 planets? Do they just have 10 planets? I don't know. Like, none of these things are really explained at a decent amount. No admiral in this entire film, I think, is given a name. So you have Admiral Ginger and Admiral Soy Boy. Admiral Ginger is the one that screams, "Everyone, the galaxy will know the first order. Fire the cannons!" You know? And then everyone does a fucking, salute. Okay then. Decent scene, but bad in the context of the film. And yeah, just overall, it's just a shit film. I think it is like a 3 out of... Honestly, official rating, I think it gets a 3 out of 10. I think, for context, I rate something like the Borderlands movie a 1 out of 10. I do think it's one of the worst movies of all time. And I consider a perfect movie... What would I consider a perfect movie? Alien versus Monsters. No. What would be a perfect movie? That's a good question. OG Daredevil comes to mind, maybe. The Joker film, whatever the psychotic one is, where he's like mindfucky. Perfect film, hit everything it needed to. That, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. One of the best films I've ever watched by far. I'm not really big on live action. I'm more of an animation guy. Hence why I watched the Clone Wars before, or I watched Clone Wars a few years ago, and I, getting back into Star Wars, and I'm not really liking these live action films. But Force Awakens is the worst out of the 6 by far. Oh, oh my god. I've seen some people defend Force Awakens and say that it's slightly better than Phantom Menace, or at least on level. Not even fucking close. Phantom Menace clears Force Awakens. Not even close, bro. Not even on the same radar. Not even on the same planet, Phantom Menace is my favorite, but I think objectively the movie's probably like a 6 out of 10. And then I think every other movie after Phantom Menace is probably like episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think those are all in the 8, 9 out of 10s, And I think Phantom Menace 6, maybe 7 out of 10. It's just slightly behind them just because it had some kinks and more of the things that are kind of not really canon, like the force speed and whatever. But I would rather look at Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan force speed their way down a hallway and it never be used again than seeing hyperspeed used inside of a ship for the first time when Han Solo is 90 years old. A lady is just able to, a scavenger is able to fly the Millennium Falcon better than Han Solo and Chewbacca could ever. She can just do it solo. Better than watching a woman, while captured, just being able to randomly use force powers because she's getting to a Jedi Master slowly in the last 20 minutes of the film. I would rather watch Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan run down a hallway any day than watch that again. But anyways, kind of just wanted to get my review out there, kind of put my stance on how I think this film is dog shit. I think Force Awakens is way worse than you could have ever imagined, or ever remembered, to be honest. I'm not excited to watch these next 2 films. I think I'm just gonna hope they're fun bad and they're just like goofy dog shit humor or something, or like, things don't make... I don't even know, man. It's gonna be a headache. But anyways, all I really wanted to say, if you made it to the end, I appreciate it. This is definitely a long one. And yeah. Ugh. If you agree with my opinion, appreciate you. If you disagree with my opinion, know that you're wrong, and I'm always right. But yeah, made it to the end. Thank you for watching, and like always, I hope you have a great day.